Hey everybody, welcome to episode 31. I'm uncomfortable in this shirt today. Normally I like this shirt, but for some reason, today I'm just not comfortable in it. If it were up to me, I would just wear the same shirt every day, and I often do. Because who cares? Clothes are dumb. That's what I think. Some people like clothes, that's cool. Makes you feel confident, whatever, awesome. Me, I like to buy a used plaid shirt at the thrift store that someone died in, and I wear it every day for 3 years until it disintegrates off my body. And then I go buy a new one, or a new old one. Hey, my band's called, okay. So yeah, we got the shirt thing out of the way. If you guys can sense a vibe, this shirt's just not working for me today. Anyways, thanks for being here. Right off the top, I wanted to thank everybody that reached out this week. It was a big week for notes of encouragement about what the podcast means to people and what my songs mean to people. And I don't normally talk about that. I've had some really life-changing conversations with people that like my music and tell me real specific stories about when my music has aligned with their life and what it meant. And that stuff means the world to me. But it's hard to talk about without kind of sounding like you're getting a little too big for your britches, or that you think you're a bigger deal than you are. Because at the end of the day, the podcast says a nobody from nowhere, and that's not self-deprecating. It's true. I'm well aware. You can't have a record collection the size of mine and not understand that everybody's a bigger deal than you. But I really appreciated the communication this week and the encouragement this week, and even the some people contributed financially to the podcast, which is huge. I'm really bad at promoting. My wife and I were having a conversation about it over the weekend, and I was saying it's a strange thing because I don't like promoting because it feels like you're saying, hey, look at me and give me money and I'm amazing and I wrote this, But on the other hand, I'm crazy proud of the stuff I would be promoting. I'm really proud of what's happening with this podcast, and even more proud of some of the songs I've written and the records I've made. So there's this weird kind of friction there where I don't want to make too big a fuss about buy my music or donate to the podcast. But at the same time, I want everybody to hear my music. I'm proud of it. I believe in it. It's beyond being a husband and a dad. It's what I've dedicated my entire life to, is the study of music and the appreciation of music and the making of music. So getting encouragement, both just via communication and financially, so much this week was really, really nice. It's really helpful. I had been struggling a little bit because, if I can be totally honest with you guys about how not big a deal I am, the last two things I released, I think in the biz they would say underperformed. I would say flopped. I made an instrumental record that I love it. I'm so proud of it. I worked so hard on it. Possibly 100 hours on this thing, studying new recording techniques and doing take after take to get the guitar just right, and maybe I'll do it with a different guitar and see if that sounds better. And I worked my ass off on this thing, and I put it out, and I think it's sold literally I think it was less than 10 copies. And and then you scramble to convince yourself of something. It's not a failure. It's just, people appreciate me from a lyrical place. That must be it. So then I put out an EP called Even If, that was just me and this a different acoustic guitar. I played 5 brand new songs and just really raw and intimate. I put that out and sold fewer copies. And I know a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'd never promote anything. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm not playing shows. And a lot of people, especially people that like my music, tend to like a physical product. And there isn't a physical version of either of these records. And I know times are tough for everybody, and it's a tricky thing. But in a particularly dramatic moment of discouragement, I was sort of ranting to my wife about how I'm failing and no one's listening, and I'm working so hard and I've invested so much time, and at the end I just went, my songs are a tree falling in the woods. And it's funny. Because this week I got a bunch of encouragement from people. And I was flipping through this book called Instrumentals by Roddy Woomble, who is the singer for Idlewild, who we've talked about a lot. I love them. And this is a book, it's like a collected book of his writings and paintings and that kind of thing. It's great. I love it. But there's a little interview at the end, and the guy says, what inspires you to keep writing songs? And as a testament to the fact that things find us when we need them to find us, one of my musical heroes says, doing anything creative, every so often it's inevitable that one gets overcome with a feeling of worthlessness in the grand scheme of things. Hello. But in a way, facing into this void of pointlessness can give the work its worth and meaning. After all, what you're doing is making something that describes in some way your own experience of being alive. It's an addictive, cathartic, and hopeful thing to be doing with your time. I love it. And even if it does end up meaning nothing ultimately, it was an important and fun experience to have gone through. Oh, Roddy, you heard so good. So that's about me having to sort of reevaluate how I look at my work and what the value of it is. And for me, I think the value of it has to be the thrill and joy and pleasure and fun of making it, and the way I feel about it before anybody has heard it. Funnily enough, because the instrumental record is instrumental, it doesn't have my voice on it, I can disassociate from it to a degree and actually listen to it. And I listened to the whole thing last week, and I love it. I really do. I'm really, really proud of it. And that's got to be enough, I think, which is tough. Ooh, it's tough. All that to say, thank you guys for the encouragement. I appreciate it. I'm glad to know people are connecting with anything I'm doing. Podcast, the songs, the jokes, whatever. I watched the Super Bowl yesterday. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I love the Super Bowl. And between you and me, it's better when my team is not in it, because then I don't have to stress out about the score and who's winning and who's losing. I just get to enjoy it. It's the one day a year where I don't hate marketing. Marketing and motorcycles are my two least favorite, like, real world petty concerns. I hate being marketed to. I hate it. And the Super Bowl was tough because the day before I saw two commercials for commercials. It was a commercial getting you excited about the commercial you were going to see tomorrow. And that I'm not so much into. But I like the Super Bowl. It's fun. There's food and football and it's just fun, I try to find the good, even at, like, very often the halftime show is not aimed at me particularly. And I try to find the good. I thought this gentleman, I think he's from Canada, like an R&B hip hop guy called The Weeknd, did the halftime show. I thought it was great. That was a lot of fun. Of course, people are taking dumps on it because, that's their version of fun. They don't have a record to promote, so they're going to take a dump on someone else. We're fond of, around the house, saying, how's your band doing? Anytime someone dumps on something, oh yeah, how's your band doing? Oh, you're nothing? You're not doing anything? All right, well, shh. That's it. It's fine to not like stuff. I don't think it's that big a deal. There was a lot of messaging at the beginning of the game about anti-racism and that kind of thing, and I felt very cynical about it at first. And it was a good exercise to try to quiet that part of me down and just go like, maybe it'll be effective, maybe it won't be effective, maybe one person will hear something about equality and equity from the NFL and they wouldn't have heard it somewhere else. Maybe. We can hope for that. I don't know. Maybe it's all empty and hollow. I don't know. But it was a good experience just for me personally to go like, that's fine. That's nice. Hopefully it works. It was a good opportunity to try to force myself into the hopeful position. Even if I can make a decent argument that I know better or I've seen otherwise or whatever. And maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense because I didn't really think too much about talking about that. But I thought it was good. It was a good day. My biscuits were great. Ooh, great. Great biscuits yesterday. Let me tell you. Took my own advice and I went and made some better biscuits. I'm in a good mood today because I spent my day listening to Emmylou Harris and drinking coffee. That feels good. Put my foot right in it yesterday. You guys want to hear a story about how I'm an idiot? One of the many pre-game events was the singing of the national anthem. And I've never been a big fan of the national anthem because if you listen real close, not that close, but if you listen real close, it's a song about war, and I don't dig it. There's plenty of things that you could talk about the place you're from that amount to more than we kick a lot of ass. But that's just me. But the national anthem was sung by two people that I had never heard before. A man and a woman, a white guy and a black lady, both of which I was completely unfamiliar with. But the guy, half of this duet, his name's Eric Church, and he looks like someone I wouldn't like. So I just went on Facebook and I wrote, Eric Church was sent here to test my commitment to positivity, because that's just so witty and snarky. And it was really a joke about how I do really genuinely try to find the positive, even in music I don't care for. And, this guy plays modern radio country, which is a genre that I often have to work very hard to find the appeal in. So I make this joke, and then at a certain point, I had to pause the game to use the bathroom or whatever. So now I can't go on Facebook anymore because I don't want the game ruined for me. And before I had paused the game, I saw a bunch of people going like, I'm not watching the Super Bowl today. I don't like sports ball. And here's where we pause so I can give you guys a little talking to about the phrase sports ball. Stop it. Stop saying sports ball, because it's condescending and snotty, and it's not funny. It's not funny. I don't like sports ball is like the intellectual equivalent of the Freebird guy. I hate it. It's not funny. And also, if you're trying to look smart and above the common man, maybe pretending you don't know it's called a football isn't the right place to start. I love you guys. It's all from a good place, but stop it. So I'm thinking what a bunch of jerks just trying to take something from people that are enjoying it and just say something snide and snarky and condescending. And the whole time, I've forgotten about this Eric Church joke that's on Facebook like a mound of poo just steaming and attracting flies. And people are commenting and they're saying, oh, I like Eric Church. He's actually a pretty good dude. He this, that, and the other thing. So the game ends and I go on Facebook, which I've really been trying to avoid lately, but I go on and I see a lot of people have commented on this joke I made, saying that he's a good dude. And I was convinced, he's wearing aviators, dude. He's a pop country guy wearing aviators. And again, the whole time, I look like this. I go to coffee shops, and people, if I sit down, oftentimes, particularly older ladies, will get up and move because I look like this. And I feel all this righteous indignation that, like, they don't even know me, and I'm a nice guy, and I brought a book of poetry to read while I sip on my coffee before I go pick up my son, and and I see Eric Church in his cowboy boots and his aviators, and I go, he's probably a jerk. So people inform me that I'm mistaken in taking a swat at Eric Church, and I'm still hopeful that they're wrong. So I Google him. I Google Eric Church, hoping that something terrible will come up, something inflammatory. You know what I learned? This son of a bitch, in his cowboy boots and aviator shades, you know what he does? He has a charity that helps homeless people and helps fund no-kill animal shelters. So, I'm a butt. I made fun of this guy. I shouldn't have made fun of this guy. And it turned out he actually had refused to do the anthem for several years and only agreed when they said he could do a duet with a person of color. Oh my God. And in the article that I read about the duet, he used that spotlight to shine on her. He said, as long as I stay out of her way, we should be fine. And he's just a nice guy who maybe makes music I don't like. I haven't even heard it, I don't think. And I'm just an idiot who, you know, in lieu of buffalo chicken dip or whatever Super Bowl food you might enjoy, I went ahead and crammed my whole foot right in my mouth. And I had to apologize. I had to get in the comment section and go like, it was just a joke and I'm way wrong. He seems like a fine dude. He speaks out about racism in country music and about poverty in America, and I'm just a jerk. So I apologized because, you know, if nothing else, I can admit that I really stepped in it. So if Eric Church is watching this, I apologize. You seem like a good dude. I'm a little bit just jealous that you look so good in those aviators. And let's go on tour. The reason I apologized publicly, it was a small thing. I didn't say anything terrible about the guy. And again, nobody from nowhere, nobody cares. But I made a point to apologize publicly. Not apologize, but just clarify, like, I was wrong. He seems like a really nice dude. It's because I've been marinating on this Aldous Huxley quote where he says, there's only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that's your own self. And I think the world should admit when they're wrong, and I think the world should apologize, and I can't control that. But when I'm wrong, you know, I am the corner of the universe that I control. So I said I was sorry. And the whole thing reminded me of a Craig Ferguson bit. He's a stand-up comedian. But he did a whole special that centered around this idea that he tries to, before he speaks, he tries to ask himself 3 questions. Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said now? And does this need to be said by me? And you can save yourself a lot of pain and headache and hassle by going through that, because almost certainly at least one of those will be no, and then you don't say it. And it's a good practice to get in. On the other hand, it does sometimes feel good to just let it off the chain, doesn't it? Just say so. I was on stage once, and I was saying something about how much I liked Motley Crue, and someone groaned, "Ugh, Motley Crue," and I said something pretty rough about people that think they're too good for Motley Crue. Like it's fine to not like stuff, but to groan when someone else does like it, you know. And the guy laughed. It was fun, but it was pretty rough what I said. And if I had gone through my 3 questions, all 3 would have been no. But I just went ahead and said it anyways, right into a microphone, and it was fun. And he laughed. So, you know, it's about finding your spots. Sometimes you got to be careful. Sometimes you got to be reckless. In the meantime, let me play a song. This is an older song. It's called "To the Bow." It's a love song that I wrote for my wife about how much I love her and what I'd be willing to do for her to stay with her and protect her and look out for her. And in the chorus, I talk about how I would confront a train. I would find a rail and lay down and I was playing through the song this morning, and my son Oliver, he goes, when I finished, he goes, "That sounds like a sad song." And I said, "No, it's a happy song." And he goes, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, it's about how much I love your mom and what I'd be willing to do for her." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Maybe don't lay down on train tracks, though." and that was fun. That's a good antidote for how dramatic we can get. My songs are a tree falling in the woods. It is kind of funny, though, because even in my despair, it was a little bit deep and a little bit poetic. And someday I'll include it in a song that 4 people will hear. This is called "To the Bow," and it's for my lady, and it goes like this. Where do you go when you don't want to know where you go when you come down? Clumsy bullets fired from clumsier guns. Now they're shooting up this whole town. Maybe they loved you, baby, when you were young. Maybe love ain't what it was. 'Cause I would tie myself to the bow. I would let the waves tear me inside out. I would find a rail laid out. I'd face that train. I would watch it back down for you. Where do you go when you don't want to know where you go when there's no one around? Walking home on legs of broken bone, but home ain't your home now. Love that you wanted, well, it never showed up, so just watch what my love does now. 'Cause I would tie myself to the bow. I would let the waves tear me inside out. I would find a rail laid out. I'd face that train. I would watch it back down for you. Tie myself to the bow. I would let the waves tear me inside out. I would find a rail laid out. I'd face that train. I would watch it back down. I would tie myself to the bow. I would let the waves tear me inside out. I would find a rail laid out. Face that train, I would watch it back down for you. All right, well, thank you very much. Let's do some recommendations, get you out of here. I got 3 today, so I'm going to go quick. First up, this record is called "Sermon on the Rocks" by Josh Ritter. It would be impossible to overstate how much I like the songs written by Josh Ritter. I believe if there's any justice in the world, there will be a time when he is talked about in the same sentences as people like John Prine and that kind of thing. He's phenomenal. I just love him. I remember where I was the first time I heard him all those years ago. It's great. This is a more recent record, but there's stuff on here that I just adore. I could do a whole podcast about Josh Ritter. But for now, check out "Where the Night Goes." There's a line in that song where he says, "Only the living go to the graveyard grieving." What? There's also a song here called "Getting Ready to Get Down," which is my universal get stoked song. If I need to get pumped up or turn my mood around, that song always works. So check out "Sermon on the Rocks" or anything by Josh Ritter. Also, since we mentioned her, let's listen to some Emmylou. This is Emmylou Harris. This record's called "Blue Kentucky Girl." I was late to the Emmylou Harris party. I really dove in after seeing the Ken Burns country music documentary, and I knew about her work with Graham Parsons and that kind of thing, but I really dove into her stuff after I saw that documentary. I went to the record store and bought 3 of her records out of the used bin, and this one's great. I wanted to recommend Wrecking Ball to you guys, but I don't own it. I really love that record and Daniel Lanois' production on it and how ethereal and spacey it is. I really wish I had that record. But this is great. This is a little more rootsy and more countrified. Listen to Sorrow in the Wind. It's everything all at once. It's a sad love song, but not like a heartbreak song. It's about loving someone but being away from them, so you're sad because you're in love. It's great. And then finally, anybody who thought I was just being flippant about Motley Crue, listen to Shout at the Devil. Yeah. Motley Crue rips. It's just fun. You know, have some fun. Put on a riff, shotgun a beer, break a window. Let's have some fun. You know, this isn't, it's a popular record, but it doesn't really have a ton of their like singles on it. But Shout at the Devil's on here. That's great. Knock 'em Dead Kid. It's great. My favorite Motley Crue song is called Angela. But to listen to that, you have to get their B-sides collection, A Decade of Decadence, and listen to Angela by Motley Crue. The discerning listeners will recognize that song from Dwight and Angela's wedding on The Office. But it was unreleased. I think it was written for the B-sides collection, maybe. But it's great. And I like Motley Crue. Try my best to like everything. Because why not? How dull to just not like things. And you know, there's plenty of things in the world that deserve all your venom and your hate. Like, there are still actual Nazis just cruising around, being Nazis. And people are using their time to talk about how much they hate, you know, Eric Church. What a bunch of jerks. You know? We can hate better things, I think. We should. That ought to do it, don't you think? I felt good. I felt like a good one. Go forth and make better biscuits. Metaphorically, make better biscuits by just not thinking that the whole world is standing in front of your podium waiting to hear about the stuff you hate. I make that mistake all the time. And as far as real biscuits, you know, don't use a rolling pin. A good biscuit is equal parts kind of airy and dense. And I think the way you really hit that balance is by not using a rolling pin. You just get in there with your hands and make some better biscuits. This was fun. Thank you guys for the encouragement. Thank you guys for listening, for supporting, for sharing. And all my music is available for free at christophergold.com or christophergold.bandcamp.com. I'm incredibly proud of all of it, and I hope you guys find something you like. In the meanwhile, I'll see you next week. I hope you guys have a good one, and we'll talk soon. Bye.